Asha, where does customer centricity figure in today's rush for optimizing marketing spend?
I think for us, it's all about customer centricity, right? Because ultimately, when you look at a customer, it has to be one customer and it has to be a very customer first strategy, especially in a business where we have various verticals and the same customer could be a user in multiple verticals. We kind of have to figure out, right, what is still relevant for them and how do we go about it. Hence, I think it has to be a customer first approach. We need to kind of figure out, basis their consumption patterns or the media trends, how do we tailor it and what is going to be relevant to them. And hence, in terms of figuring out your omni-channel strategy, be it, is it going to be mobile first or otherwise, especially in a region like Southeast Asia, I think everything is quite mobile first, because mobile is probably the first device also where they kind of experience internet for the first time. Like probably the earlier generation, their first version of experiencing internet was on dial-up mode on a desktop. Right now over here, all transactions are on mobile, be it bill payments, you're ordering food or ordering things for your day-to-day groceries, etc. Everything is very mobile centric. So if your customers and a majority of them sit there, I think we need to cater for it accordingly. Then your creative strategy also needs to be changed in terms of whether it needs to be a front-loaded message or how adaptive is it to your screen across touch points, right? And as Laura also was pointing out, right, we also see a huge consumption of video and video assets working really well across platforms. And more importantly, short form videos, because nobody has the attention span given they're being spammed and bombarded by so many advertisers. So I think it's very important to understand your consumers and figure out their media consumption patterns, also what kind of creatives work or don't work, and what is it that we take forward so that we are still relevant to them. So I guess a mix of it works, and hence it needs to be a more customer first approach so that it kind of tailors into your business objectives. Because if you as a business are not relevant to your customers, depending on what stage they are on your particular business scenario, it's never going to go forward, right? So I guess everything has to be centered with the customer. Same time, we kind of need to ensure that we are not spamming them, because otherwise they feel like they're getting too many messages from you and then they're going to be blinded by it. It could be they look at your name and they just delete it. So I think a right balance needs to be there in terms of how much exposure do we need to have as a brand with them, and what is the right balance to maintain so that we are still relevant to them. Or as they say, right, it's probably a brand which matters. So there was a study in my earlier agency where they used to have this thing like, what if you as a brand vanish tomorrow? Will it really affect the customer? Because of late you have so many options. The concept of brand loyalty doesn't really exist in the true sense. It's more about promos and discounts which you want to be. So then I think it's also about building this brand imagery and the story that you're still relevant to your customers. Hence, I think customer centricity is definitely very important.